Hello everyone, here is another installment with Miss Ness, and today I decided that I'm going to do a bit of a mixture of a lesson, and the reason for that is because I want to show you something which I really loved doing when I was little. I don't know why. There must be something very exciting about this practical little task, but I remember when my teacher showed me how to do this in class, and then after that I just kept doing it all the time, possibly because I quite enjoyed writing, and this is a little practical challenge that you can do anywhere, anytime, and you will probably enjoy writing a little bit more, and you might start thinking that this is going to be about words, but it isn't. This is a lot more practical than that. And after that, I'm going to share with you two little poems which I found in this book, What Rhymes with Sneeze, by Roger Stevens. I was just reading through the poems in here, and I found two which I thought was just quite interesting, and I can turn them into a little riddle. So hopefully you can start making comments for me about these videos. Okay, so today you will need a piece of paper, and that piece of paper could be any piece of paper, a large one, a small one, a cardboard piece of paper, a colourful piece of paper, or a white piece of paper. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose a normal A4 size white piece of paper, but it doesn't have to be that. You can go for anything else. You also need a pen or any writing instrument and a ruler. That's all you need, and your listening ears. Okay, so it has, as I said, something to do with writing, but it's not actually a writing challenge. I'm going to show you how to make your very own writing sheet. Quite often when we are doing challenges, independent challenges in school, at Beddington Infant School, we will tell you to make lines for yourself, for your own writing. And I know some of you have figured this one out already, but not everybody has. So here's a little tip on how to make those lines really nice and even, and then you will enjoy writing even more, because somehow it just feels really good to be writing on a piece of paper that you have made for yourself. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to make one where you can have a little frame for your illustration, if you decide to add an illustration, and then underneath you can have some lines. So for the frame on the top, we want to make sure, sometimes it's difficult, isn't it? You kind of imagine that you want to have a nice even box on the top of your page for the illustration, but somehow it's just difficult to get that on paper. So I'm going to show you a quick trick on how to do this. With your ruler, decide how big you want your frame to be. So we are going to leave about 2 centimeters from the edge of the paper. Okay, so then you start looking at your ruler and line up 0 to the edge of the paper, and then do a little dot or a line, similarly to when we were doing the cube for the die. And if you want that line, the trick is that if you want that line to be really straight, then you have to do 2, like I mentioned that in the math session earlier. So do another one a little bit further down, because once you've got 2 dots or lines, if you line them up, if you line the ruler up on those 2 lines, there is no chance that your line is not going to be straight. It's definitely going to be straight. Okay, so as you are lining those up and connecting those 2 dots or lines, you can actually decide how big do you want your frame to be. So I can see that my frame is going to be happy to be about maybe 10 centimeters down. So just make sure you line up the 2 dots and draw a straight line across. If you do this with a pencil to begin with, then if you make a mistake, or if you change your mind about sizes and measurements, then you can just do adjustments on it. If you do it straight away with like I am doing with a felt tip pen or a pen or any other thing that is not possible to rub out or quite visible, then you will have to think as you go along. So I went for 10 centimetres down. Then, remember I said I want 2 centimetres from this side, so on this edge I will also have to measure out 2 centimetres. So I'm going to line up 0 to the edge of the paper, then 2 centimetres, 2 dots away from each other, connect it very quickly. There we go. And then on the top, I left a little bit less space. So you could go for maybe 1 centimetre from the top. So mark out 1 centimetre from the top on both sides. Remember, you need 2 dots or 2 lines, 2 marks for a straight line. So there we go. I've got the top of my frame, and now all I have to do is just to connect the bottom of my box. Actually, if you want to make sure that that size is also 100% correct and it's straight, then decide how big you want your box to be. So I'm going to go for 10 centimetres. Line up the ruler to the top line and measure down 10 centimetres. Draw a dot. Then do that on the other side. Draw a dot. And now connect the 2 lines. Now sometimes, like in this case for example, I can see that the lines, my lines on the sides are a little bit longer than 10 centimetres. That's not a problem, just make it into a feature. So instead of thinking, that's a mistake, no it's not, make it into a feature. So what you could do is do that. And then you've got a very special little frame with an additional emphasis on the bottom, which you can decorate, or just leave it as it is. For example, you can draw little things in it, you can draw little hearts in it, you can, if it was a bit too big, you can make it a bit bigger. I just decorated it, there you go. So it's not a mistake, it's an adjustment. So there's my frame. Then, I'm already using 2 centimetres from the side, so why not do the same as I'm going to do the lines. So from the bottom of your frame, where your illustration is going to be, measure out 2 centimetres on one side and on the other side. Connect those 2 dots. And that can be the first line for your title. Then if you went for 2 centimetres, then because it's a title, we're going to leave a little bit of a bigger gap. So this time go for 3 centimetres from that line for the 2 dots on one side and on the other side, and then connect them again. And that's it. And from here, that's where the fun starts. You're going to take your ruler, and let's see if you can actually see what I'm doing. And from the line, the second line, which is going to be where you're doing your writing, just do dots at every 2 centimetres on your ruler, which is actually a really good little maths exercise as well to count in 2. So start at 0 and then go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So look, I just did a little dot at every 2 centimetres on both sides to make sure my lines are definitely not leaning anywhere. Just the wind is coming through the door, so I'm just going to put a weight on there. And then all you do is connect your lines, connect your dots. There we go. And remember how I said the more times you do things, the better you get at them. So obviously with this as well, you will actually get really good at this, and you will be super quick at using your ruler, at measuring different measurements out. go. And then if you want it to be especially neat and tidy, then what you could do is just draw the lines, connect all of your lines down on the side, and then you have a kind of like a writing frame for your writing as well, and not just lines, but even a frame. So you might end up with something like that. See? And that was pretty quick, wasn't it? And now you have a really neat page to write on. And that's just, it just feels so nice to write something that you created and you made. You can use a colour that you particularly like for your pages, or you can just decorate the outside of your frames. So that's a little trick to do it quickly and have fun at the same time and do a bit of maths as well. Right, so the second thing I was going to show you is 2 little poems. And the first one, I'm not going to tell you the title. And the reason for that is because this poem is actually, well, it wasn't written as a riddle, but I am going to turn it into a riddle by not telling you the title. Because as I read it, I hope that you will notice something. So really carefully listen out, and maybe you can even pause the video or maybe listen to it more than once, and then you're going to notice something. I'm going to tell you 2 things that you can notice, and the third one I want you to guess yourselves. And if you guess that, then that's actually going to be the title of the poem, and that's why I'm not telling you the title. Right, you can be an artistic actor, or a brainy barrister, a clever conductor, or a dynamic dancer, an evil enemy, or a fantastic friend, a green-fingered gardener, or a healing herbalist, an interesting inventor, or a jovial, jolly juggler, a keen kitchen designer, or a logger-headed lumberjack, a melodious musician, or a neat newsreader, an over-the-top opera singer, or a princely paid pop star, a quipping quizmaster, or a rich rugby player, a serious scientist, or a typewriting traveller, an uppity umpire, or a vigorous vet, a wonderful winner, or an expert xylophonist, a yelling yachtsperson, or a zealous zoologist. So, go to it. You can do it. Someone's got to. Why not you? And who is going to stop you? The only person who can stop you. That's you. And nobody else. So that's my first poem. And there are 3 very interesting things. A massive bumblebee just came into my conservatory, but it's huge. Thankfully, I'm not scared of bumblebees, but if you see something gigantic fly in front of the camera, it's a bumblebee, so don't be worried. I'm safe. So there are 3 very exciting things that you can notice. 2 of them, it's coming closer and closer, wants to learn a little bit of maths. Maths and English. It was very big coming right at me. 2 things I'm going to tell you are, if you listen one more time, an artistic actor or a brainy barrister. Artistic actor. Artistic actor or a brainy barrister. And I'm not going to tell you the third thing. So, 2 things. 1, look at the letters. Artistic actor. So, it's an alliteration, isn't it? So, every single profession that is listed in this poem is an alliteration. Okay. And the second thing is, if you look at this, and especially if you're in year 2, that's a noun and that's an adjective. So together they make a noun phrase. So this poem is a phrase. This poem is full of alliterations and it's full of noun phrases, which is brilliant. And the third thing I won't tell you, but then there is another little poem. This one's very short. It's called The Lazy Poet's Alphabet. A is for ankle and auntie and air. B is for bottom and button and bear. C is for clock, which is worked by a cog. D is for Dalmatian, a nice spotty dog. E is for everything else. And that's the end of the poem. I just thought that was a funny little one. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Just a little short one. Show you how to make sure that your lines are really neat. Measure out the distance between the lines and just go for 1 or 2 centimetres. I would say for year 1 and 2, years 1 and 2, usually go for 2 centimetres so you've got enough space to form your letters neatly. Little practical tip there, and a riddle. What is interesting about that poem? Shall I just very, very quickly show you the very beginning one more time? I'm not going to read the whole thing again. Just one more time if you didn't get it. An artistic actor or a brainy barrister, a clever conductor or a dynamic dancer, an evil enemy or a fantastic friend. And I'm going to stop it there. Fantastic friend is an excellent thing to stop on anyway. I hope you've got lots and lots of fantastic friends who are looking after you and making sure that you're staying safe and happy. And as always, remember, we are very much missing you at school. Enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you for another challenge another time.